from the city and the province.
That area, it also requires or it needs to be rehabilitated. But I'm not going to waste any time further. I'm going to request our Premier to lead us with a full briefing based on what we as the officials we have briefed them. Over to you, Premier.
Thank you so much, Provincial Commissioner. I want to start by acknowledging the presence of the acting minister, who will also come later to add some information. I also want to acknowledge the presence of the Executive Mayor of Johannesburg, Kabelo Kwamanda, and also acknowledge the presence of the MECs that are here from provincial government, as well as the entire leadership of the municipality, led by the MMCs that are here together with the city manager. I want to take this opportunity to appreciate the presence of the ward councillors that are here and the officials that are representing various agencies and institutions. We received a detailed report from 4 crucial institutions. The first institution obviously related to health, that captured the people that are in hospital and those that are injured. And the second report we received from the leadership of Igoli Gas, just to deal with the aspects of gas. The third report related to what needs to happen from now on. And we brought the entire leadership of municipality and come at different levels. The first level, obviously, it's roads, the closure of roads. And the second one is the agencies that are working within the municipality, key being sewer and water. So that's the third report that allow us. And the last report was from the law enforcement agencies, of which General Mawela has already explained it. And I forgot to acknowledge the National Commissioner. Thanks, National Commissioner. In terms of people that are injured, the number has increased drastically. We are now standing at 41 patients. 41 patients. Of the 41, they are categorized. Those that are critical, which is called P1, there are 2. Those that are in the middle, that are called P2 patients, there are 9. And those that with minor injuries, which is called P3, there are 30 in total. So we've got 41 patients that are spread within various hospitals. I want to take you through the hospitals in which they are spread. It is Charlotte Maxeke Hospital, Hillbrow Clinic, Garden City, South Rand Hospital, as well as Malbatin. Those are the hospitals that have assisted us to deal with this disaster. We then move to the cause. We are of the strong view that the information that we have currently is not assisting us to understand the cause. We have invited Igoli Gas because it became the immediate area of concern, and the leadership of Igoli Gas, represented by Mr. Nick Dival, they've explained what they feel might be the cause. And where we are, we just noted what they said might be the cause. They said that the entire Bree area, they've checked the systems. The only area, it was at corner Elof and Bree, where they sensed something that needed to be fixed. But we also brought an expert, Mr. Joe van Vieren, who also works with the institution, specializes on leak detection. And he said there is a 100mm pipe that they suspect might have caused this, but it does not come from the line of Igoli Gas. So we still need to gather proper information at that particular level that can assist us. We also then brought Johannesburg Water, through Mr. Nchabim Mukwevo, and they said that they are starting to isolate the supply of water in the area, which simply means they are reducing the supply of the water so that they can determine as well from their area if it's their infrastructure that is affected. So they've switched off 10 valves now. There are 10 valves that they've switched off for purpose of detection. But if nothing happens, they will then go on and take the drastic step of switching off the main supply in the entire area. We are crossing our fingers that it doesn't go towards that direction so that they can be in a position to determine their intervention. They also said they will check the sewer system as well, but they've assured us the infrastructure of the sewer system, they have their own built-in mechanism to manage leakages and issues related to gas, and that what they've picked up currently does not indicate anything that is related to the sewer. So the main area, therefore, is to say this is the busiest area. So what happens tomorrow morning? So we requested roads, and the roads was represented by both the MMC and Mr. Louinel. So they've got two options. Is to shut down the largest portion of Johannesburg, or to go as minimum as possible. We are of the view that they can go as minimum as possible. The reason being, the current areas that are cordoned off, we've got 4 rapid bus stations. That on its own affects life in the CBD. We've got one major bank, FNB, so if we close that area, it's also going to cause panic. We also have Old Mutual, we also have a court in that area. So we said to the team, let's reduce without risking and go as minimum as possible. And I'll come why, because there's the infrastructure part that we are worried upon. And Joburg, I'll take you through the areas where they feel they can assist us to ensure that the physical infrastructure of the building is assessed as quickly as possible, so that when we go minimum, we don't risk lives. So we're going minimum, which simply means that the main road of Bree Street is the area that is going to be shut down completely. And then they will broaden the next two blocks that are adjacent to Bree Street. That they will close them off and then do diversions. They say they need 6 hours from now. They need 6 hours to prepare for tomorrow in terms of road traffic congestion management. So they are going to put points, people that are going to direct traffic, but they've also started to put the necessary infrastructure, the cones and everything. So in the next 6 hours, we will be. So we're suggesting, therefore, the people that will be caught within the area that is cordoned off, we've asked the municipality to check if they can give them, I don't want to say passport, but things that will allow them to move around so that they can deal with it. Permits. So that is in terms of tomorrow. But you know there are homeless people around that area. So we've evacuated all of them. We've taken them to a safe area. So all homeless people that sleep around the CBD, we've taken them out now. So they've gone to a safe area where they will be taken care of in terms of whatever that they need. They will be taken care of. Joshko, which controls buildings, have already appointed a service provider to quickly move in and check the integrity of the buildings, because that's the major deep concern. So the integrity of all the buildings that we think might be affected. So they've started to do that, so that on the basis of the advice, we can be in a position to give an outline about the situation, whether it's safe or we can open the city. But transport indicated that as soon as Joshko give them the go-ahead, then the repair of the roads will happen. And as soon as the law enforcement agencies and everyone that is gathering evidence, as soon as they conclude that aspect, then we'll start to ensure that we fix the road. But the damage that is caused there, it will take some time for those roads, but they are expert. They will assist us to deal with it. The provincial commissioner Mawele has indicated that the police were mandated to immediately cordon off that area because we don't know the after effects that may happen between now and tomorrow. So they've done that. They've cordoned off the area. The teams that are there are sweeping the entire area to check any eventuality and guide us appropriately so that we can be in a position to be sure who's there, who's remaining there, and we can account for everyone that need to be accounted. So in summary, we are dealing with 41 patients. We're going to close a portion of the CBD, but the entire Bree Street will be shut down, especially the component of Bree Street within the Johannesburg CBD, where we believe that we still need to get the relevant information. And Joshko have appointed a service provider to check the credibility of the buildings and whether those particular buildings should be occupied by tomorrow or not. And on the basis of that, we'll be in a position to determine anything that needs to be assisted. So I'm with the with the minister responsible for police for today or tomorrow. I'm also with the executive mayor. If they've got opening statements that they need to make, I'll allow them to do so, and then after I'll hand over to you, Provincial Commissioner. Minister, or let me start with the executive mayor. This is your city, so. So.
You can use the mic.
Yeah, use the mic so that you are audible.
Good evening to members of the media.
Just hold it.
Good evening to you, Premier.
Thank you so much.
Good evening to the Acting Minister of Police. Good evening to the residents in the city of Johannesburg, the officials that are on the ground. It is indeed a sad day where we are confronted with a situation where lives of our citizens are placed at risk. Placed at risk by sudden incidents that the city of Johannesburg is working tirelessly to try and put up infrastructure to prevent. This is a disaster that we are learning from. The Premier said earlier on that it was a miracle that we did not experience any fatalities. The administration of the city of Johannesburg acted swiftly. And I must say that we should take pride in their endeavors to service our people as best they can and be as responsive as they are. We are also fortunate that all spheres of government are able to come together and collaborate through their areas and disciplines to ensure that we respond effectively to the situations in which we find ourselves in. I'm not going to reiterate what the Premier had said. I just want to reassure the citizens in the city of Johannesburg that government, through its administration, is on the ground and we are responding effectively to challenges as they come. We will ensure that the revitalization of the city of Johannesburg and the aging infrastructure that has led us to this situation that we are faced with at this very moment is attended to with the urgency that it deserves. We are also grateful that we have law enforcement on the ground that is going to prevent further incidents from occurring. our citizens are very curious, even when a situation does not allow for us to go and spectate. Therefore, JMPD, in collaboration with SAPS, are going to ensure that that space and that environment is kept, people are redirected, and we ensure that there's no one that is in sight of danger. We are investigating to ensure that we find a long-standing solution to this aging infrastructure that we are faced with. Without reiterating much, Bree.
That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. I'll hand over to the Acting Minister of Police. Unclear.
Yeah.
Correct.
You're correct. Thank you very much. I think all protocols are observed, and I think from a safety and security point of view, I wish to thank all the members of SAPS at all levels who were able to rise to the occasion and arrive on time. And obviously the first thing that we are concerned about was the safety of the people in the area. And as the mayor is rightfully saying, that people are very curious. They were not wanting to be removed from there. I think that the message from SAPS and all structures of SAPS is that people also have to take responsibility of their safety one way or the other. It's one thing for us as government to rise to the occasion and be here, but it's another to make sure that by tomorrow morning we don't overstretch the resources that we have simply because people are not wanting to follow the rules and the law that we have. It's important that the cordoned areas must remain cordoned areas, and we mustn't have any other people who wanting to do other things that are not helpful to the citizens. So to the citizens, especially in the area where the affected area, it's a plea from us, from the police, that as we continue to make sure that all the technical teams are able to do their work, they do that without being disturbed by curious onlookers. Curious onlookers, please be curious and look from far, because we don't know what actually is happening. Now, if people are going to then not want to be guided by the police as to where they are supposed to go and how they are supposed to go, we are going to have a very serious problem with them, because the safety of the citizens is very important. To that effect, we must always know that when such occasions occur where it is a disaster, you will then also have some other people who are wanting to do other things that are not very necessary. The police are going to be very intolerant to people who are not going to want to listen to be told that you can't come in here, you must follow this route. The responsibility of the police is nothing but the safety of the people. The responsibility of the police is nothing but to make sure that all the technical work that the Premier and the Mayor has spoken to must be done. In fact, they started already. So that work must continue. And then obviously the structures, MEC of transport here, and all the other MECs and MMCs who are here. Your responsibility also is to communicate and plead with our citizens to really have order. Let there be law and order, because if there's no law and order, we make it very difficult for these technical teams that are here. That's the plea that we would want to make as the police, and I can assure you the police are not going to take kindly to people who don't want to listen.
Thank you so much, Minister Lindiwe Zulu, who's acting on behalf of Minister of Police, General Bheki Cele. I think heroes and heroines of this day, our emergency staff members. I think we have to thank all of them, including our law enforcement agencies. They've executed this task, a very difficult task under a difficult environment that was very difficult, but they've managed to really provide us with the relevant information. So I want to personally thank them on behalf of the entire leadership that is here. This is how we rock when we have a situation. So we can declare now that the situation is completely under control now. It's completely under control. There are two areas that we are worried about. One, as of now, we don't know the cause of this disaster, as of now. So there's an area that we still need to dig deeper, and the experts are at the scene, and they will advise and guide us. So any other person that claims to know the cause at this present moment, that person does not have our blessings, because all the arms of the state, we are not sure what caused this blast. So we will be in a position to provide that information as soon as those that are dealing with this information can provide it to us. We will have a second briefing just to observe everything overnight. We'll have the second briefing again 7 a.m. tomorrow morning right here. And we will then update whatever information that needs to be updated by 7 a.m. tomorrow, so that we are sure that we have gathered the relevant information. So I want to hand over to you, General Mawela. If there are questions, we will try to answer, but I suspect that we've answered everything. So let me hand over to you. Thanks, General.
Thank you, Premier. Maybe by show of hands, and then I'm going to pass the mic to you after you have asked your question. Then you'll move to, okay, let me start with you, and then you'll move to Heidi, and then only two.
Okay, Tari Sokoba from Eyewitness News. Just two questions from my end. Has there been any sort of evacuations? I understand that there has been voluntary evacuations, but I just want to know, in terms of government-mandated evacuations, has there been any, and where have the people been relocated to? And maybe if you can give us just maybe a figure of how many people have been evacuated by the government and where they got relocated to. My second question is regarding the cause of the explosion. Now, I understand that investigations are still ongoing, and Igoli Gas has said it's none of the pipelines that are responsible. So I don't know if you can get maybe an understanding. What other entity or maybe what other company has gas pipelines running underneath the city? Is it just Igoli Gas, or the other entities that also have gas pipelines running under the city? Thank you.
It's Heidi Jokos from ENCA. You basically asked my question. I just want to know how many people you are looking at in terms of evacuating, because people have already been told to evacuate, but where are they going? And let's also not exclude the fact that a lot of the people living in the CBD are undocumented people. Are you going to be catering for them and accommodating them as well? Are they factored into all of this? Thank you.
Any other? Okay.
Premier Ntoha from News 24. Mine is simple, Premier. Since you're saying you don't know the cause of this incident, what will happen should it happen that you establish that this thing was caused either by illegal mining, number two, lack of maintenance of infrastructure, number three, theft, because we know for a fact that there are people who are stealing infrastructure in the city. What if the third part is that the cause of this thing could be theft of infrastructure? What will happen to that?
Okay, is there any other? Okay.
Skabelisha from News 24. I'd like to get clarity from the Premier. You mentioned earlier that there's a 100-meter pipe. Can you clarify if it's a water pipe or gas pipe? Thank you.
Okay, I'll hand the mic back to the Premier.
I'll start with the simplest one. The difficult ones I'll hand over to those that are assigned the task. Secretary May? Let me start with News 24. When we got the briefing, Egoli Gas indicated that their pipeline are still functioning the way they are functioning, because if there was an explosion of this magnitude, it should have affected the distribution of gas within the CBD. They say those that are relying on gas within the CBD, their services were not disrupted. They only picked up a 100-millimeter pipe that had some leak, and they've since repaired that particular part. I hope it clarifies your point.
Was it a gas leak?
Yeah, it's a gas leak, but it says it's minimum. That's what that they said. Said it's minimum. That's how they explain it. That is why we say we don't want to jump into conclusion. Let's satisfy ourselves with all relevant stakeholders that have anything to do with our underground infrastructure. That is why we called the water team, we called the sewer team, we called the Egoli Gas. So we've called everyone that there's an infrastructure that is running underground, so that they can give us their clearance certificate to say it's not us, it's not us, it's not us. And from there, we'll make an assessment. So we're still waiting for that. In terms of evacuation, can I allow the city manager? I'm not sure. Because you said we've evacuated people, but I don't know to which area. It was mainly homeless people. So I'll give that part, because I think that's the key area of how many people and other. But let's go to where we are, colleagues, and we want to emphasize this point. It's just that we need to also deal with this part. Our first task is to protect lives, defend lives, and ensure that everyone is safe. And in the process, I don't think it will be human or Ubuntu or both to ask first, are you a South African or not, before we give help. We are treating everyone as equal as possible, and we'll deal with other things later on. So that everyone is safe and everyone is protected. So that's the attitude. So even though in the CBD there might be other people that might not be documented, but in this kind of disaster, humanity comes first, and you provide support, and after providing support, we'll deal with all other things. So I can assure you, we are providing support to whoever that need our support. We'll deal with other issues later on. I think we are reluctant to point fingers for now. All the areas that we have identified are under our microscope. But in the absence of proper evidence, it's very dangerous to pass judgment. And I've followed people that are already passing judgment about either old infrastructure, theft, illegal mining. I don't have access to any evidence from those that are experts that indicates to any direction. And they've politely pleaded with us, allow us to go and check and dig deeper to check the cause, and we'll provide that information. And these are the people that I expect, and these are the people that are working with forensic. These are the people that are dealing with this situation almost on a daily basis. So let's allow them to conclude that task. And when they've concluded that task, we'll be in a position to say this is the cause. But to jump the gun and point fingers at this moment, I think it's irresponsible. Let's allow those that are appropriately qualified to make a call, to make that call. And immediately when they make that call, we will. That is why we said, let's keep them here so that tomorrow morning, overnight, probably there's something, we can then give you an update. Can I ask the city manager, bring on those matters? Yeah.
Thank you, Premier. From our side, in terms of evacuation plan, it will be in full swing tomorrow morning. What we will be doing, we will then evacuate those that will need specific spaces. So we'll first have to start with the occupancy assessment and then assess what it is that we would require, and then as a city we would then place them accordingly. Thanks, Bree.
Thank you so much, City Manager. I want to once more thank all our emergency staff members. I know that sometimes they take this as a calling, they do this thing, but we have to thank them. They honestly assisted us, as well as all the law enforcement agencies. Commissioner Mawela, if you don't mind, we still have to be here at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. If you don't mind, thank you. Thanks.
Ladies and gents, good night.
Good night, yes.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks.